Right. What have I missed then? Honestly, I was away for 5 days, I got really sunburned, I ended up face first in a field at a festival because I was far too drunk, and whilst this was happening, the commentary community fell apart. Like, you could have at least waited until I was back, for fuck's sake. Like, Love Island's just finished, I could do with some nighttime entertainment. Look, there's so much to get through, and I'm gonna try my best to provide as much context as possible without making this video like 4 hours long, but the two main people you need to know are Def Noodles and Papa Gut. Now, Papa Gut is someone who I was not particularly aware of before this situation happened, and Def Noodles is someone that I've had maybe like one very brief interaction with in my life. It was probably well over a year ago now, and I think we just both kind of said well done to each other and like give each other props for videos. Like, it was very brief. But the reason I mention that is because I feel like I'm pretty unbiased in this situation, right? Like, I have no loyalties to either of them, I have no beef with either of them, I literally have no opinions on either of them really, apart from after this situation. And to be honest, the only reason I even know about it is because I got multiple comments on my last video and multiple DMs on Instagram telling me to talk about it, because it all happened on Twitter, and I haven't used Twitter in like over a year, so to me, this didn't even happen. But long and behold, it did happen. Something definitely happened, to say the least. So this all started about 5 months ago when Papa Gut invited Def Noodles onto a live debate so they could talk about their opposing views, and to be honest, Def Noodles comes across pretty cringy.
You're being very serious, and then when you get called on it, you're kind of just walking back like, well, it's just a joke. I'm just saying, it just doesn't come off as a joke. I mean,
so the thing is, here's the thing. A lot of people like to say humor is subjective, right? Maybe the joke's not written for you. That's what it is.
Who's the joke for? People who don't
clearly
like me?
I have 600,000 subscribers, so there's a joke for someone.
That's good.
Now, this whole joke thing is because there seems to be a slight contradiction in the fact that Def Noodles will go to Twitter and report on something very serious, he'll go to his videos and report on something very serious, but he will say that his show is like a comedy-based show where he's like playing a character and he talks about irrelevant news and whatnot, but then some of the news is like criminal activities. So it is a bit confusing, to be fair, but I don't think it's the end of the world. It's just the way he does his content, and clearly people did like it.
Oh, the satire is for you. The way your audience interprets it's up to them. And then I talk to you about how do you think that...
Look, let me explain something.
No, but see how you're doing it again. I'm just trying to get...
Like, I understand you want to drill down on my comedy, and we can do that all fucking day.
No, but like I'm trying to like this is a really but this is such an important topic too. Like
I just spent 2 fucking hours with like 6 different comedians, and we were just shooting the shit about comedy the whole time, and I fucking love talking about comedy. We can do that all fucking day. At this point, I'm just extremely annoyed that this is like, this has to be the most low IQ, dumb, idiot conversation I've ever had in my entire life.
So as you can see, it's Papa Gut trying to express his thoughts, get his opinion across, but before he can even finish a sentence, Dennis kind of kicks in and he's like, oh, why are you trying to discredit my comedy, man? I swear he's not even American. I don't know why I always go to that accent. It's kind of the only one I can half do. So the whole conversation is a bit cringy, especially on Dennis's side, but I don't want to go too much into that because he did end up uploading a video kind of apologizing for the situation.
Now, in all seriousness, folks, I cringe every time I watch that. In fact, I watched it back right after it happened, and I've watched it back numerous times since, so I can learn from my mistake. Now, I don't really know how to end this video because there's really no ending right now. In fact, I have to keep working on myself so that this kind of situation never happens again, but...
Yeah, so you see, that little sentence at the end there, like, I want to make sure this doesn't happen again, kind of aged badly. Because just recently, Def Noodles decided to go on a bit of a Twitter spree, going at Papa Gut and saying stuff like this. Motherfucker got famous on TikTok for quote-unquote joking about fucking 14-year-old girls, then gets offended someone jokes about him. But you know, he was right. I shouldn't have said that. I should have instead said he makes himself so small in his videos to hide the fact that he looks like a paedophile. Right, I'm sorry, how did we get here then? Now, instead of me giving context to what the joke actually was that Papa Gut said, let's actually read what Papa Gut said the context is. The joke was, if she's old enough to bleed, she's old enough to breed. Thank you very much, Andres Lopez, for the advice. It was a satirical call out since he allegedly slept with a 14-year-old. It's a joke I've condemned multiple times, but that person isn't interested in honesty. So even though the joke is distasteful, the context doesn't make it seem anywhere near as bad as what Def Noodles kind of portrayed it as at first. Andres Lopez is a TikToker who got caught speaking to underage girls, and then Papa Gut made a joke saying basically what he thinks Andre's mindset must be by using a phrase like, if she's old enough to bleed, she's old enough to breed. Obviously still a distasteful joke, he even said he regrets saying it himself, but then when you just read the first line of Def Noodles' tweet, motherfucker got famous on TikTok for quote-unquote joking about fucking 14-year-old girls. It makes it sound way worse. First of all, putting the word joking in quotes insinuates that he wasn't joking, and he actually meant what he said. And second of all, it's not even a joke about about Papa Gut wanting to have sex with underage girls, he's making a joke of what Andres Lopez's mindset must be. Like, the joke's already bad. You don't have to make it worse. Like, I just don't understand that. And then we move on to the last line where he says that Papa Gut looks like a paedophile, and this is something that he said on multiple occasions. Who could have seen this coming? Crybaby in chief actively seeks to get me deplatformed. Unfortunately for him, he still looks like a paedophile. At FBI Los Angeles, put this motherfucker on a watch list. He looks man suspicious. Yes, he tagged the actual FBI in the tweet, which is just fucking mental, isn't it? Now at this point, people are criticising Def Noodles a lot in the replies, and even showing the clear contradiction that Def Noodles is currently suing Keemstar for insinuating that Def Noodles is a paedophile in a jokey tweet, to the fact that he's now doing the exact same thing to Papa Gut. But don't you worry, we do have Dennis's response to all of this, and it is, interesting. We'll use that word. You're suing someone and doing the same thing. 1. My bio says comedian. Sorry, that's a funny point. He's not even meaning to be funny there, but the fact that his number one excuse for what he said is that his bio says comedian, that's funny. That's actually comedy. It's just not a valid excuse, is it? And to be fair, if we even want to go down the comedy route, there's no real punchline. You just kind of went, you look like a paedophile, and that was it. Since 2019, I've said I covered news as a joke and wasn't meant to be taken seriously. And then he's credited the New York Mag interview. And that would be all fine and dandy if Dennis's actions actually portrayed what he's saying here, because he's made multiple videos talking about James Charles and the allegations with him talking to minors. The same with the Lopez brothers talking to minors. Like, how can that not be taken seriously? And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. In fact, it's a good thing that you spoke about situations like that. But you can't say that your content shouldn't be taken seriously when you're quite literally talking about serious situations. 3. Saying someone looks like a pedo isn't an accusation, especially when they objectively look like a pedo. Look, all I'm saying is a lot of comedians probably would have moved on to a different joke at this point, okay? It is getting a little boring. Like, I'm actually more mad at the fact that the joke isn't funny than the actual joke itself. Like, there's gotta be something to it, Dennis. And now at this point, if you didn't already think Dennis was having a bit of a Twitter meltdown, it got a lot worse. Nobody is slandering you, big puss. Saying you look like a pedo doesn't mean you're an actual pedo. I can say you look like a fire extinguisher, and it doesn't mean you're an actual fire extinguisher. Well, yeah, but fire extinguishers don't touch kids, to be fair, so I can see why he's probably a bit more offended for the pedo word. Jeez, these low IQ morons want to comment on stuff without even understanding language. Now don't cry to mummy YouTube, you pedo-looking motherfucker. Fucking hell, mate, like, he's actually raging, isn't he? Like, look, I'm all for you being able to make jokes about whatever you want to joke about, but there's a few rules to this. First of all, it has to be funny, right? There's got to be some creative punchline to it. And that doesn't mean that everybody has to find it funny, but you haven't even really tried. You've just said he looks like a pedo. And second of all, you can't just repeat the same thing over and over again. The more he says the exact same shit, it really does come across like he is trying to insinuate something. Oh, and also with that last tweet I just read out, he actually attached a picture of Papa Gut crying. Now this image is actually in Papa Gut's kind of response to Def Noodles when this situation was kind of kicking off again. Now Dennis used this picture of Papa Gut crying against him so many times on Twitter, like I'll flash a few of them on screen right now, and it's even got to the point where he started selling a t-shirt with the picture on it saying cry about it, which already is a very mental thing to do, but when you add the context of what Papa Gut is actually crying about, it's genuinely disgusting.
These people are telling me their real stories, and I'm complaining about getting stressed from hearing them or trying to deplatform people. It's not even close to the amount of stress that they deal with, but that's the impact it has on me. So I don't talk about it, because this is stupid and it's unfair to those people, because they shouldn't have to feel guilt for me getting upset, listening to their stories and trying to do something about it, because I'm not hurting in any way, even close to them.
Yes, that's right. Dennis took a screenshot from a video of Papa Gut talking about people who have been essayed in the past and put it on a t-shirt because he was crying. Like, for me, this is the absolute worst part of the situation. Yes, he made tweets saying that Papa Gut looks like a pedo and all this stuff, but you can always use a defense that that is comedy, even if it's not really funny. But there's just no excuse. Literally no excuse. But lo and behold, Def Noodles would upload a video called My Apology to Twitter, where he starts off the video seeming like he's going to apologise for this whole situation, but in true Def Noodles fashion, he's got to introduce comedy.
I am very, very, extremely, profoundly, unequivocally, with no reprieve, but perhaps some second guessing, while also being a little peckish, maybe I should have before filming this. Anyway, that I, Dennis Mendoza, the host of this show, Irrelevant News, on the Def Noodles channel, which was established in 2018 in Los Angeles, California, which is a state in the United States of America, which is located on planet Earth, which is coincidentally the third rock circling around the sun in the Milky Way galaxy. Me, I, him, he, him, those are my pronouns for anyone asking. Dennis, I am very profoundly sorry.
You don't mean that.
Yep.
Now that right there, that's funny. Look, someone really needs to take the internet away from him for a little while. Like, I'm not even trying to kind of like gaslight him or anything, but he's clearly acting on emotions and he doesn't want to admit he's wrong and he's making really, really stupid decisions that just make him look bad. And I don't mind the bloke, and yeah, I haven't really had that many interactions with him, but from videos in the past, I thought he seemed like an alright bloke. But fucking hell, mate, like, this is bizarre. It's just extremely, extremely bizarre. He's even doing some other strange stuff, like he's set up a roast battle in his office and he's inviting, like, other creators to go and roast him for a $15 fee, and he's even saying things like, "Oh, can you handle it, bitch?"
I invite you to come to my office to say it to my face. Pay the $15 to get through the door, and welcome to the roast battle, baby. Let's see if you can survive the heat, bitch.
Sorry, that's funny again. Like, that last line, brilliant. Honestly, I'm starting to believe he is a comedian. Nah, that is a bit of a low blow, isn't it? Like, I don't want to come across in this video like I'm trying to put Dennis's comedy down and saying that he'll never be a stand-up, because it's clear his dreams, and if he wants to go for that, he definitely should, and hopefully he succeeds. Like, I genuinely do mean that. So I don't want to come across like I'm just hating on the comedy for the sake of it. I'm just trying to make jokes myself, you know? Like, maybe one day I can also put it in my bio. Now, carrying on from this roast battle idea that Dennis has got, he's even been replying to a bunch of YouTubers saying that he'll pay for their flight and their accommodation, basically giving them a free vacation just to come and roast him. And I just want to put it out there, okay? I'm not very good at roast battles. In fact, I've never really done one. I've never done stand-up. I'll probably be really bad at it, but I've never been to America. So if you want to pay for me, Dennis, I'll be right amongst that. And now we've got the last tweet we're going to look at from Dennis, because he then moved on from this Twitter meltdown and went on to better things like a 6-hour Twitter space and just argued with people. But it was a message to all the drama channels out there, so I'm kind of taking this a bit personally. I want to thank all the drama channels for making videos sensationalising my jokes. I've been trying to pivot away from the drama for the last 7 months, and you're doing me all a favour. The more drama seekers leave my pages, the less I have to cater to them. So please, keep it coming. Oh, he's been pivoting away for 7 months? Oh, I mean, to be fair, I'm quite curious. What's he been uploading recently then? Tana Mojo is starting a family. Ethan Klein addresses Trisha Paytas. Jenna Marbles returns to the internet. James Charles gets cancelled for crying. David Dobrik pimps out Kritikov. Gabby Hanna is stealing from small artists. I mean, it's not exactly the pivot I was expecting. I mean, we basically upload the same shit, Dennis. Like, does that mean I'm pivoting away? Am I losing touch with my audience? Well, like I said, this Twitter meltdown ended with a 6-hour Twitter space, which is basically like Clubhouse, a bit like Discord, basically a voice chat. Now, obviously, I haven't watched the whole 6 hours, because believe it or not, I actually have other stuff to do. But towards the end of the Twitter space, Papa Gut actually comes into the conversation, and you can hear Def Noodles and Papa Gut speaking one-on-one.
Once again, trying to slander me on social media as a way to say rather than engage intelligently in what we've been talking about.
How have I slandered you?
By heavily insinuating that I'm a pedophile.
How was that insinuation made?
Constantly, through constant harassing tweets, insinuating that I look like a pedophile. That quote tweeting, like, what were you saying, that you think I got famous on TikTok for quote unquote making jokes.
Okay, so straight away, the fact that Dennis kept making the joke saying that Papa Gut looks like a pedophile, I don't think is enough to say that he was strongly insinuating that he is actually a pedophile. But the first tweet where he's saying this motherfucker is joking about fucking a 14-year-old girl definitely does insinuate that. I think the first one is just a really bad joke, and the fact that you kept repeating it and repeating and repeating it is almost trying to get that to be a thing where people say he looks like a paedophile on a regular basis. But the second one is just straight up manipulation. Like, putting the word joking in quotes is just insinuating that it's something that it really wasn't. It is just manipulative.
So let's go back.
Sure.
Let's see. How many videos have you made about me in the last 7 months?
In total, I counted today, I made 21 videos about you. Overall, these videos, rather, first,
One video.
The overall, we're not moving past the point. Overall, these videos consist of you, first of the time, trying to actively slander me, as well as a couple of ones in defense of you. And then again, with this situation of you slandering me, you talking about how I made a lot of videos when you consistently post on Twitter about me. Just because you put it on Twitter and don't make it a YouTube video doesn't mean you're not making a response to me. This is a really, really shallow and pathetic attempt to try to make it seem like I'm obsessed with you when you were the one re-engaging this whole thing. And you have, for a week, been obsessed and hyper-focused on trying to destroy my credibility, just like you did the first time. But the only difference is nobody thinks that you're serious. Nobody takes you seriously enough for it to have any real impact. And now you're doubling back because there's nothing else for you to do.
You said made 21 videos about me in the last few months.
Yeah, in the last initial engagement.
Like, come on, Dennis. If there's anyone who can't use the point that you've made so many videos about me, it's people like you and me. Like, if I just put the name Trisha Paytas in your channel, the list is never ending, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? My channel would be the exact same thing, it's completely understandable. But once you make that many videos on a certain person, you can no longer use that excuse of, oh, you're making so many videos on me, because you do it all the time. He's uploaded a new video about you every time a new situation happens that he wants to speak about. The same stuff that you do, okay? It's a pathetic excuse.
You didn't talk
I don't
to her.
need to talk.
How do you know those are the
because
excuses?
the mother released all of her information. We saw all the DMs. I don't need to talk to the person who's doing the bad thing that's going to be reframing it in a way that makes it seem like she did the right thing. That's called a biased source. You talk to a biased source. That's insane that I would have to go to the liar, Sniper Wolf, in this situation to get the real information.
Yeah, I fully agree with Papa Gut there. So the context of this is that a little while ago, a mother was trying to reach out to Sniper Wolf to get a video message or like a call or something along them lines for their child who I believe had cancer. And Sniper Wolf kept saying, yeah, I'll do it. Kept putting it back, making a lot of excuses up that really weren't worthy of being excuses. And then the mother ended up blocking Sniper Wolf. So then, out of damage control, she ended up doing the call. Now, Dennis is trying to kind of get on his high horse a little bit here, saying that he actually reached out to Sniper Wolf and got the full story. And the fact that Papa Gut didn't do that also makes him... what, like bad at research? But as Papa Gut's saying, the screenshots were out there, all the conversations were out there, there was way more than enough information out there for you to make your opinion on that situation without having to hear what Sniper Wolf's excuse is. And to that I 100% agree, and Dennis should agree too, because how many times he made videos about people without getting a personal statement and a private message? Like, it's just stupid.
Do you consider yourself an unbiased person?
I am as unbiased as a person I think can be.
Okay, and now, however, you just said that you didn't want to get somebody's side
You're
of the
harping
story.
on this.
Ah, come on, Dennis, you're better than this! It's not a good point. It's just really, really not a good point, because he's done it so many times in the past too. And good, like, you should be able to do that. If there's enough information out there for you to speak about it, you can speak about it.
You admitted to not doing research or seeing that I had made all the donations. You
What are you talking
admitted that you didn't reach out to Sniper Wolf and that you don't like to get both sides of the story. And now you just admitted to over-sensationalizing something and then immediately taking it back.
Oh, this is so hard. This is so hard to listen to. Like, Dennis, word of advice. The live thing in for you. It's just him twisting Papa Gut's words over and over again, and it's actually really difficult to listen to. But after this was done, after the Twitter space was complete, he ended up uploading a podcast onto his podcast channel, speaking about the whole situation, and you would maybe think that he would look back and realise it came across as a bit cringe again. Well, in fact, that's not what happened. In fact, he went as far to say that Papa Gut was weaponising his tears because Papa Gut had a problem with Dennis selling a t-shirt of Papa Gut crying about someone who had been SA'd.
Yeah, that was a little bit. I mentioned it. I mentioned it, and he like got really annoyed when I mentioned it. But the fact is, he couldn't find another way to respond to my joke other than to weaponize someone else's, essay.
Right.
So and
it
he
got
couldn't
like as a comic, as someone who talks on stage and fills out a room and knows actually what is going on by every moment, like increment of energetic shit that's going on.
Yeah.
Bro, he got onto the Twitter space, and forgive me, I'm just gonna like say it, but he was like pulling emotionally for sympathy.
Okay, respectfully, no one gives a fuck that you're a comedian who fills out rooms, okay? Like, no one cares. This isn't a comedy club. It was a fucking Twitter space. He's not weaponizing someone else's essay. That is literally the reason why he was crying in that picture, and you sold it for profit on a t-shirt. Like, of course he's gonna have a problem with that. And I believe as well, the person he's crying about is his wife, okay? I could be kind of wrong there, but I believe it was something to do with his wife, and if that is the case, Obviously, he's going to have a fucking problem with that. Who wouldn't? Now, Dennis goes on to make an excuse for selling the t-shirt, basically saying he didn't know the context of why Papa Gut was crying.
And we didn't even fucking know. We specifically about the picture, like, dude, we saw it for half a second here.
Yeah.
We saw the clip half a second. We saw a funny still, and that's it. That's what we did, right? Like,
Wait a second. Is that Dennis admitting he doesn't do research? Did you not reach out to Papa Gut to find out why he was crying? Disgraceful! Look, maybe you should know why he was crying in the video, especially when he's explaining it for the whole, 30 seconds before he starts crying. It's not hard to find out. I think he did know, and I have no way to prove that, obviously, but I just find it very hard to believe that he clicked on the video, went perfectly to that still image, screenshotted it, and then never found out why that image exists, okay? I just find that really hard to believe. Dennis then goes on to respond to people in the chat, kind of criticizing him.
somebody said, "You're so unhinged. It's genuinely disturbing. I'm out, LMAO." So here's the thing. You were just saying that this guy can go and have an unhinged performative meltdown on his thing, and now I'm just talking, and you're like, you're unhinged. You're unhinged.
God, don't do that again. I mean, maybe unhinged is the wrong word, but you were clearly having a bit of a meltdown on Twitter, okay? You tweeted at least 116 times.
Somebody said Papa Gut is a clout goblin. In order to be a clout goblin, yeah, that's what you got to do. That's how you get internet points, you know? That's how you get the W. Go and use somebody else, weaponize somebody else's assault, and then go and cry about it on the internet. That's how you get famous, folks.
It's really getting disgusting the way he's speaking about this. Saying that the guy's using someone else's assault and weaponizing it. No, just because he's speaking about it and getting emotional about it doesn't mean he's weaponizing it. It's someone he knows, for fuck's sake. I think the way that he's just assuming and almost insinuating the fact that Papa Gut doesn't really care about this SA situation and he's just using it as a way to get back at Def Noodles is grim. It's just straight up grim.
He's like the guy that all of his followers, all these people who are against me, they're in love with him. They're like, yes, he does stuff for he supports victims or whatever. And the mask eventually falls off. There's only so much that you can be that inauthentic and fake and performative and cloud chasing and not have the real you slip out.
Whoa, okay, right. Let's just unpack that for a second. First of all, the voice he just used when he was saying that Papa Gut is trying to help all the victims out and all that stuff, what's that about? He's trying to say the fact that Papa Gut has made videos in the past helping victims is him being fake and not being authentic. How the fuck do you know that? I mean, you've literally admitted so many times on Twitter over the past few days that the past 7 months of your channel, you've been unauthentic. You don't like the content you're doing, you're only doing it to cater to certain people. And you spoke about very serious situations in that past 7 months. So are you being fake? Are you being unauthentic? Look, I'm not going to sit here and try and tell someone what to do with their lives, but if I had to give any piece of advice, it does seem like he does need to step away for maybe even just a few days. He uploads daily across a couple of channels. He's never off the internet. And I'll be honest as well, I watched a lot more of his podcast than I've shown in this video, and it seems like he is surrounded by yes men. At one point he even says to his friend, "What, do you think I'm overreacting? Do you think I'm unhinged and all this stuff?" And his mate just tells him what he wants to hear. I hope he does take time to reflect on this, because like I said, I don't think he's a bad guy. He's came across a nice guy in the past, so much so that I've reached out to him in the past and said, look, it's nice to see you doing well. But this is just crazy, man. It's clearly not going in the right direction. But either way, I feel like this video is going to be extremely long, so let me know your thoughts on everything I spoke about in today's video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below. Subscribe if you are new as well, and I'll guess until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.